What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right, man, I'm going to talk a little bit about Billy Joe Saunders and Demetrius Andre's fight being canceled and some things that were said by the president of the WBO and also the president of a group called the Association of Professional Boxing Commissions, or APBC. Now, most people know by now that the fight between Demetrius Andrade and Billy Joe Saunders is now canceled or not being sanctioned by the Massachusetts State Boxing Commission because of a failed test by Billy Joe Saunders. I don't recall what the name of the drug is, but it was an inhaler, and it is a performance-enhancing drug that is banned by Vada, VADA, in competition and out of competition. And it was banned by WADA, the World Anti-Doping Association, which it does the tests for the UK Anti-Doping Commission, UCAD, out of competition and in competition, but not out of competition. So when Billy Joe Saunders failed the test and the contract, and they had agreed, Billy Joe Saunders had agreed with Demetrius Andrade to be tested by VADA. He failed the VADA test, and the response from these clowns is what a shame it is for such a talented fighter like Billy Joe Saunders to be put in this bad position because of the inconsistent testing protocols and standards of these two different testing organizations. And what an absolute crock. And what a disappointing statement to come from these guys, because look, the guy was doping. Okay? He was doping. And whether or not you want to make an argument about whether or not he violated the letter of the law and what law should be applied, there is no doubt that he violated the spirit of the law, which is you're not supposed to be taking stuff that gives you a competitive advantage. And that's what this particular drug does. I have no doubt that, and no one has shown any evidence to point out that he did it without that purpose, for some other purpose, like it was prescribed to him, or he had a medical condition, or any of the other usual lies that people use in order to justify doping. But to have the commissions, but Billy Joe Saunders, I listened to what Malignaggi said about it. He did an interview on Fight Hype, and he said something to the effect of, I'm paraphrasing him, that that doping is just out of hand right now because there's no serious punishment for it, and there's no serious testing for it. And that VADA is popping people left and right without really even having many people being required to take the tests. So that according, in his eye, doping is so widespread in boxing that you can just, even if you have a half-assed protocol or testing, one testing agency out there that you basically, other than if you're fighting for the WBC in their championship fights, that you have to worry about testing you. People are, as soon as these guys are testing you, people are popping. So he's saying that it's just widespread, and it's, now it's getting to the point where it's at the point where most of these top guys are doping because they have to dope in order to be able to compete, because everything being equal, a good clean fighter is not going to beat a good dirty fighter. So, but my thing is, why would the WBO and the professional boxing commissions, the Association of Professional Boxing Commissions, take the point of view that it's the drug testing agency's fault that Billy Joe Saunders got popped for this? Because Vada says, look, you can take this dope is good up until you sign the contract. But as soon as you sign the contract and you're in competition, Hey, you can't use this dope. This dope is only good for when you're not being tested. It's only good for when you don't have a fight. But the crazy thing is about that is these guys, you can be doping 6 months ahead of your fight. Get off of it and let it cycle out a week before, 2 weeks before you start your training camp. You still have the benefits of having doped. You were still training like that. Your body is still all of the development in your body that allows you to either heal faster, reduce inflammation, increase your oxygen on your blood cells, build muscle, or reduce reduce your weight. Why keeping your energy? All the different type of things that these chemicals can do for you. They still get the benefit all of it. They just have to get it out of their system. It's just a crock. But to blame the testing agency for catching them it just really does show where these guys' bread is buttered. The WBO gets a sanctioning fee. Would have got a sanctioning fee for this fight between Demetrius Andrade and Billy Joe Saunders. And I don't even know what could be in it for the professional boxing commissions to run their mouth about it, because it's the only responsible party in this was the Massachusetts State Boxing Commission. They did what they're supposed to do. Like, hold on, we got two standards here. First of all, the contract said Vada, so they are in violation of the contract, because they agreed to be Vada tested. And when you agreed with Vada testing, Billy Joe Saunders, he agreed to it. So that should be the end of the day, right? That should be the end of it right there. But for the commission not to license you, they're saying, hey, he got caught doping. One has a stricter testing than the other guy. Then Vada has stricter testing than Wada has. So, hey, he got tested by the stricter testing agency, and they found that he was doping. You're not going to dope in my state. No. But why would they do it? Because their state probably because they're paid by the state of Massachusetts, which is not huge in boxing. And it would seem real funny for elected officials or because I'm sure that either it reports to the governor or it reports to some state body with elected officials to have a reputation for allowing somebody to slide in there and purposely allow a fighter that's doping to fight in their state. But hey, they say what a shame it is. We need to immediately get these guys on the same standards. We need universal standards across the world for testing. How much you want to bet that the testing would be the lighter version? Now you're going to, so where are they going to meet in the middle? Is Vada going to lighten up their testing protocol? Or is Vada going to add more to the more substances to the out of competition ban list? How about you just have a banned list, period, and you test everybody in competition and out of competition that has a belt, that is fighting for a belt, that could fight for a belt in the foreseeable future. If you got if somebody has not been tested for 7-8 months in and out of competition testing, then they're not eligible to fight for a championship. It will cost more money, but hey, man, figure out a way. Otherwise, it just becomes a farce, man. It just becomes an absolute farce. So many fighters, it's obvious that they're doping. Obvious that they're doping. And one of the things that Malignaggi said was, Malignaggi said, it's hard to do on the eye test. It's hard to figure out, based on what the guy looks like. If he looks like, if he's in shape, that necessarily means that he's doping. But he said what he looks at, and what I agree with, is if you start seeing things in the ring that look crazy, you start seeing fighters that are 200 pounds with no body fat, pure muscle, but throwing 1,100 punches in a fight. never getting tired, just winning pretty much just off of the fact that he gets tired a lot less quickly than the guy that he's fighting against. I mean, it's just, come on, man. It's a joke. It really is a joke. But anyway, it is what it is. I don't agree with what Paulie Malignaggi said about him not holding, like, hey, man, just let everybody dope. I don't believe that. That's kind of like the arguments that I hear about people saying, hey, man, everybody's ducking. So, hey, what difference does it make if he ducks? Everybody's doing it. I mean, hey, that's not how I see it. I say, hey, if you see somebody, call them out for it. And if there is no pressure on people to solve the problem, then the problem definitely won't get solved. In boxing, there's so many people that talk about they care about the health of fighters and all that stuff. But, what about the health of the fighter? Number one, of the clean fighter that's forced to dope, because like a good fighter that's clean, that's forced, that feels like they have to dope because you got some bums out there who are doped to the gills and might be garbage in the boxing ring, but they can throw punches harder and longer, right? And you got people making, associating with the freakish punch output to the fact that they're doing Ukrainian dancing. It's ridiculous, man. But hey, that's the sport we love. That's boxing. You have Vada, the anti-doping agency. You have Vada tests and catches somebody doping. And the WBO and the Association of Boxing Professionals blame Vada and inconsistent testing protocols on the fact that the dude got busted. You're going to blame the people that busted him for it instead of blaming him. And then we'll see if he even gets stripped, because it's going to be UCAD, right? It's going to UCAD, UK anti-doping. They say it's okay. Their testing protocol is WADA. So, hey, he'll probably he might wind up keeping his belt because he didn't violate any testing protocols from UCAD, right? So it's cool. It'll be cool with them. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, it is what it is, man. Demetrius Andrade, hey, man, you can't win for losing, can you, my man? But it is, and hopefully he has to pay a little dough because he violated that. But even then, if Billy Joe Saunders says, look, man, I have these training expenses that I incurred looking for this fight to happen. I want to sue this dude for breach of contract. You can wind up have happened what happened to Deontay Wilder when Alexander Povetkin popped dirty. The regulations in the WBC was so loose that Mauricio Suleiman himself could determine whether or not the doping was a violation of WBC's rules, because he can decide pretty much whatever he wants to decide in the WBC. It might be the same thing for the WBO, because is funny acting as the WBC is, it's still second or third on the list behind the WBO. I personally would list it as the most crooked of all these things. Sanctioning bodies is the WBO, followed by the WBA, followed by the WBC, followed by the IBF. Because at least the IBF suspended, stripped Gennady Golovkin, which the WBC would have never done. Anyway, it is what it is, and with that, I'm out. Peace.